Welcome to this session titled Maximising Pension Contributions and, more importantly, the level of tax relief available on those contributions. So today we're going to do a deep dive on this particular topic. I have previously covered it in certain aspects, certain areas of it, perhaps covering the annual allowance, etc., like that. But today it's very much a deep dive in terms of the numbers, the calculations, the tax relief. And for me, this concept is at the heart of it. For me, in the main, a pension ought to be used, or pension contributions ought to be considered, if one expects to receive more tax relief going in on contributions than one expects to pay in tax whenever money is taken out at a later stage in time. Now, normally we get a lot more certainty about what level of tax relief we'll obtain on contributions going in. It's a matter of a contribution being made and consideration of the person, say your clients, if you're advising a client in relation to this, their particular tax situation for that year, from the 6th of April to the 5th of April, typically. So, or perhaps it's a corporate year as well, which could have a different trading year end. But you can understand and assess this is the tax relief that will be received in that contribution. That can be defined. However, what we never really know for sure is what tax you would pay when drawing the monies at a later stage in time, unless you were doing it very quickly indeed, perhaps. Drawing it on exit in the way that I consider this, it could be drawing it during your own lifetime, typically during retirement, not necessarily. It could be in a death scenario. And that's why the exit charge could vary dramatically. And also, of course, even if we know we're drawing it in this particular scenario, we don't quite know what the tax rates or even the rules might be at that future point in time when you're drawing those benefits. Indeed, a person might not even be in the UK anymore. They may be somewhere else. So the exit charge, the exit tax is always a little bit up in the air. The way I tend to look at this is that in consideration and in compensation for not having complete certainty on the exit charge, I think one ought to expect a certain premium, a certain higher level of relief going in than what you'd come at the other end with. For example, as well, let's say you were 30 years old and you were making a pension contribution and you know you cannot tap into this pension until you're, say, 60. That's quite a period of time to tie the money up for once. And secondly, there's a lot of things could happen there in terms of dictating what level of tax would be payable at that point in the future. I would expect a much higher premium in terms of the level of tax relief going in to justify that. If I were already 55 or over and I made a contribution today and I'm thinking I'm drawing that money next year, then I've got a lot more certainty in terms of that situation. So I would not necessarily demand as much of a premium in terms of the relief going in. But for me, this is always the consideration.